Hey, so this is the second video in our series this month on function-based behavior intervention. And so this month we are talking about using behavior intervention based on function. So we're not talking about the form of the behavior. We're not talking about the topography of the behavior. We're talking about the function of the behavior. It's so important. So you'll hear me say that over and over and over again. Every month we'll talk about function of behavior because you cannot intervene on behavior without conceptualizing or thinking about the function of the behavior. So we're not looking at, is the child being aggressive? Is the child tantruming? Is the child screaming or crying? We're looking at, is the child working to get attention? Is the child working to escape a non-preferred task demand? Is the child working to get a tangible item or activity? Or is this due to some automatic function, internal mechanism like pain, or they're too hot, they're too cold, they're hungry, some kind of internal state, okay? So, thinking about function. If the function of your behavior is escape, all of your intervention needs to be focused on escape, replacement behaviors, and escape consequences. So if the function of your behavior is escape, I'm going to give you an example. This week, I went into a session. Another therapist called me in for some support. The child was screaming uncontrollably. The child was in speech therapy, did not want to engage in the behaviors. Therapy is hard. It's not fun. Clearly, if the child communication was easy, the child would be communicating and there wouldn't be the need for therapy. But verbal communication for this child is difficult, hence the fact that he is in therapy. He was screaming uncontrollably. One of the reasons he was screaming is he didn't want to do the task that she was asking him to do. He doesn't want to play those games. He doesn't want to do that because it's hard. He would much rather scream, which is not easy or not as hard, and is very effective at getting the teacher or the therapist to stop asking him questions, to stop giving demands, and all he has to do is scream until the session's over. So no, it's not comfortable, but yes, it's much easier. So when we're looking at that, we have to do an intervention based on escape. So what we need to do is we need to first block escape. That means you can't remove the task demand. You have to maintain the task demand, because if the child is screaming to escape, you have to stop making that behavior effective at getting escape. The next thing that you have to do is you have to give ways to get escape. So first do this activity, then break. First do this, then go home. First do this, then have a fun activity. So that's where you can use those first then statements, where you're getting escape is your reward. A break is your reward based upon completing the task. So in those circumstances, you don't have to look at giving tangible rewards. You don't have to look at praise or attention for a good job. What was interesting with this child is every time he started to comply, I was like, oh, good job doing that. And he was like, oh, no, I don't like that. And he was backing off. So a lot of times we have people will ask me, what do you do when the child doesn't like praise? Well, if the function of behavior is escape, they may not care about praise. And so when you're looking at function and escape, it allows you to identify the replacement behavior. So the replacement behavior is going to be saying no thank you, is going to be asking for a break, is going to be compliance rewarded by escape. And so that's where you're looking at, how do I make my intervention equivalent to the function of the behavior? Attention. So if your child is engaging in something for attention, you want to be a parent. So another example that I had this week, a child who is engaging in some behaviors of eating or using food inappropriately. And the parent provided a reprimand and said, don't do that. And he giggled. Now this child has autism, so he's not always socially aware, but clearly he was doing this to get a reaction from his parent. And so I talked to the mom about ways that we could use attention to get a reaction. And so what are things that we could do this week? This child is lower functioning, and so could we play peekaboo? Could we play some of those social games to get that interaction between a parent where you engage in a behavior, the parent reacts with humor or with funniness? So can you program for attention? If a child needs attention in a school, can you give them attention non-contingently? Can you have that? People have talked about like check in, check out. Can you have that program check in time where you're giving attention. As a parent, can you set aside 10 minutes of talk time a day where you just sit down and talk for 10 minutes and they get that programmed attention? On the converse, you have to start planned ignoring. So if a child is engaging in the wrong behavior, maybe they're screaming, maybe they're yelling, you have to lower the amount of attention. So when I say planned ignoring, I do not mean literally ignore your child. You have to maintain safety. You have to make sure that they're safe, but can you limit the attention? So a lot of times when a child is engaging in undesired activities, we say, look at me, and we tell them what they did wrong, and we tell them why it was wrong and what they should do instead, and we give them all of this attention. You actually have to stop that. If you're speeding, did you know you were speeding? Yes, you knew you were speeding. Did you know it was wrong? Yes. Does the police officer have to give you a lecture about it? No, you already knew it was wrong. Your child knows hitting is wrong. They know taking a toy out of somebody else's hand is wrong. They know kicking is wrong. They know spitting is wrong. They know these things are wrong. So that lecture, it's just for you. It's not for them. So you don't have to give that lecture. So you can planfully limit your attention, limit your eye contact, limit your words that you're using when the child is engaging in the non-preferred behavior. And then you have to reward attention. So what's your replacement behavior? Is your replacement behavior engaging in appropriate toys and then you give attention? So they're playing independently and then you're going to give attention. So first play independently, play by yourself for 5 minutes, then mommy will come play with you for 5 minutes. Is it first do your work, then you can sit and the teacher will check your work for you. And so then you're getting some independent work, but then they're getting rewarded for completion by the teacher coming and checking their work and giving them that attention that they're working for or that they're wanting to earn. Is the student engaging in behaviors so that they're getting their peers' attention? So then if they raise their hand and they wait and they wait to be called on, at the end of the day, can they show a video to the class? Can they tell a joke to the class? If they're engaging in high intensity behaviors, maybe to get the principal's attention, can you have a scheduled time with the principal? So you're looking at what is that replacement behavior and then rewarding that replacement behavior with whatever the function is. So just make sure that when you're looking at your behavior intervention that it's functionally equivalent to whatever the behavior is.